Welcome to a brand new series devotional called Arms, or The Arms. Arms are a big deal in our society. Men bare their arms to reveal ripped muscles and strength, and women bare their muscular arms and toned shoulders, especially during the summer. Arms are exercised so they retain their looks and strength. And as we age, a lot of us start covering our arms because of sagging skin or less than muscular tone. The arm of God is a big deal as well. It's paramount in understanding the character of God to look at his arms. They're not only ripped and strong, they're arms that create, build, protect, defend, open wide to deliver, encourage, hold, and enable all those that run to him. And this summer, we're going to look at the arms. So today's first devotional is called Symbolic. Do you know the story of Moses and his raised arms? The children of God were at war with an enemy, and as long as Moses' arms were raised up towards God in praise, they won. But when Moses' arms dropped down, the enemy started to win. Moses' arms were a symbolic channel for God's grace and providential intervention. Let's look at this story. The people were in the wilderness and they were thirsty. So they started grumbling, and Moses, their leader, had brought them away from the place where they were enslaved, and they were mad that he had brought them out to the wilderness to now die of thirst. In fact, they were almost ready to stone him. Moses cried out to God, and God gave him instructions to strike a rock where water gushed forth for these thirsty people. It says they named the place Massa or Meribah because it was a place where the people tested God and wondered, is God among us or not? We've all been in that place wondering if we've been abandoned by God. Even though he's delivered us many times and his goodness has been present our entire lives, it only takes one dry desert and a few thirsty days for us to hold a fist and wonder where he is and is he going to provide. We're just like these people. We forget about his strong arm. The arms of Moses were an extension of the arms of God in offering grace and provision to a people in need. So let's read on. Now the people were under attack, and Moses carried the staff of God, the same staff that brought water from the rock that we just mentioned, the same staff and arm that was an extension of the mercy and provision of God. He carried it to the top of the hill. Can you visualize Moses on top of the hill with his staff? Interestingly enough, as long as Moses' arms were up, Team Israel was winning, but when he lowered them, they fell to defeat. Think about the football games you attend or watch and how the stands are full of people with hands up in victory or fist up shaking in defeat. I love it back when the wave was a big deal at football games, and it began on one side of the stadium as people lifted their arms and it swept across the entire arena from one side to the other, sending a message of victory to the team playing on the field. It was so cool. It says when Moses' arms grew tired, they put a stone under him, and two guys then held up Moses' weary arms. His arms then stayed steady till sunset, and God speaks that he is going to completely blot out the enemy for his people, and this time they named the place where they were, the Lord is my banner, because the hands that were lifted against God's people were now going to be blotted out forever. So this first devotional isn't about the literal arms of God per se, but it's about the first picture we see of the mighty arm of God. He placed his strength in the arms of a man, Moses, and as Moses obeyed and carried in his arms provision and peace, victory prevailed. God demonstrated amazing provision for these thirsty people, even though they grumbled and forgot his goodness. Then he demonstrated the importance of arms in battle. Raised arms toward heaven ensure victory. Tired arms are no problem because God is the rock on which we can sit, and he will send helpers to hold our arms when we can no longer do it in our own strength. And the best part of this story is the end. That which sought to destroy the people was then affronted by the living God, who said that enemy would be blotted out. Don't you love that? Forever. Remember the good old whiteout in the days of typewriters when we made mistakes? We used to blot out the incorrect letters with the whiteout, and then we typed over it and made it right. That's what the arms of God still do. This entire story of Moses' staff striking the rock, holding up his arms, sitting on a stone and having helpers, and seeing an army retreat is the beginning of the story of the arms of God. They're quite amazing, these arms. Arms control movements in our fingers, enabling us to wiggle them or fasten a button. but they also allow big movements like raising things high or doing push-ups. God doesn't flex his muscles to impress us. He uses his power to deliver and so much more. So come with me as we explore the arms.